Alright guys, if you're watching this video, that means your classroom teacher has decided to play the game Death in a Minute. How this game works is, in small groups, preferably about 3 to 4 students, you are to come up with a scenario where one or more of your characters dies within 1 minute of that scene. Your teacher is going to give you a particular situation, so it could be at the beach, at the park, at school, in the cinema, at a wedding. Whatever the situation is, that's where your characters are, and that's where one or more of your characters will die. And you'll have a brief, short period, you don't have a lot of time, maybe about 30 seconds to come up with a brief scene, and then you'll have a whole minute to perform that scene. Now, 2 things to always remember. Do not let your character die within the first 10 seconds of the scene, because it leaves you remaining 50 seconds to figure out what to do with the body. And that's not fun. It's quite boring for the audience to watch what you do to try and dispose of the body. And the second thing is, make sure you set up a proper story that has a beginning, middle, and end. Don't just set up the part where the character is about to die. Show us what things are going on leading up to that person dying, and then having that person die. The idea of this game is to help you learn how to build dramatic tension, okay? Doesn't matter which kind of dramatic tension you're using, whether it's tension of task, tension of relationship, tension of mystery, or tension of surprise. Doesn't matter, as long as the build-up to tension is there and your character ends up dying. After your groups have had a turn doing their scenarios, have a quick discussion on how you guys built up the tension. Alright, we have a modelled example, as always, and how to play the games. A modelled example. I have Mrs. Hill and Mrs. Weiss helping us out here. Mrs. Hill is recording the video, and Mrs. Weiss is my star performer. Enjoy the demonstration video and have fun.
Where's the beach?
30 seconds to go.
Oh, what do I do? Do I just fall down? I don't know.
10 seconds.
Alright, I'm here with Mrs. Weiss. We've just completed the game Death in a Minute. The scene that we chose to do was Death in a Minute on the beach. And you could probably guess what the story was and what actually happened. Mrs. Weiss, I kind of put you on the spot.
That's okay,
like that.
that's okay.
So what plans to do? Like, how did we decide on the story on or what was going to happen on the beach? What did we do?
Well, I thought the swimming and the shark was a simple thing to act out, and it was quite obvious, and so the audience could understand what was going on.
Okay. So this week we're learning about dramatic tension, and so Death in a Minute is a game that helps us sort of build on that tension. So we know something's going to happen, but we don't know what it is yet. The audience doesn't know that just
Okay.
yet. How do you think we went at building up that dramatic tension?
Not too bad. I probably could have made myself more aware that I spotted the shark before it attacked me, and then that would have created more attention because I could have acted more afraid, maybe.
Yep.
It might have built more of a tense scene.
Yep. It's hard when you're improvising on the spot, and this game is meant to be an improvisation activity too. So you might find that
you're in the same boat as Mrs. Weiss and I. You might be like, oh, I could have done this better after the fact. But that's okay, because you get better, and the more you improvise, the better you get, and the more ideas come to your head as you think about them on the spot. Yeah. We had a bit of an issue with sticking within that 1 minute because I killed you off a bit too early.
Yeah.
So that was a bit awkward for us, wasn't it?
Timing is a big thing in it, isn't it?
Yeah. So remembering the rules of the game, which your teacher would have explained to you, you can't have your character or characters die in the first 10 seconds. Preferably it's got to be towards the end, because you're building up that tension leading onto the scene. Otherwise, we were left with, 30 seconds to figure out what to do, and we had to quickly make something on the spot. So you're there in the water floating, and you've been eaten.
Yeah.
And we just had to make stuff on the spot. So don't do that to yourselves, guys. Just,
Yeah, have a think about
towards
the
the
time,
end.
because a minute can be a long time when you're doing things
Exactly,
like this.
yeah. So you'll have someone, your teacher will probably time you guys when you're doing it, and they'll tell you when your 10 seconds is almost up. If you haven't killed your character off by then, now's the time for that action to happen. So it's that timing of the action, building up that suspense, ready for that tension to unleash. Thank you, Mrs. Weiss.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks for that.
A huge thank you to Mrs. Weiss and Mrs. Hill for helping me with recording that. When your teacher tells you to, split up in those groups and listen to the scenario that your teacher will give you and have fun with it. Can't wait to hear what you guys came up with. Bye for now.